Washington, D.C., power flows through information. But what happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? In the halls of power, a national security advisor makes a fatal miscalculation. On the other side of the world, a special forces team walks into a perfectly orchestrated trap. When the dust settles, 4 American soldiers are dead, 3 more captured. And the most catastrophic intelligence breach in modern history is just beginning to unravel. Signal Lost, a 6-part podcast thriller about betrayal, courage, and the devastating consequences of a world where even our most guarded communications are never truly secure. When everyone is listening, nowhere is safe. Signal Lost. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Chelsea Handler commented on her ex-boyfriend Joe Coy hosting the Golden Globes. Chelsea, who has hosted similar events, said, "Comedians who'd love to be thought of in the same light as these A-listers, but we just aren't." You may recall that one time Joe Coy made a mean, horrible joke about Taylor Swift. Here, let's listen.
The big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, on the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
April Fool! Hi, it's actually Johnny Mac. Thank you, Mike Chisholm, for a really kind of stupid lame prank to open up the show. Hi, Scott Beckett. Happy April Fool's Day to you. Okay, your comedy news for today from BostonPositive.com. Donnell Rawlings talked about legacy, and he says it's interesting because people say, what's your legacy going to be? You never know, because you won't be here to experience it. But he pointed out Entertainment Weekly's list of the top 100 television shows in the history of television. Donnell says, and I was part of 2 shows that were considered to be in the top 100. Can you name them? 1 being The Wire, 2, Chappelle's show. Donnell says, I get people sometimes. You have people that are negative and they're like, what has he done since Chappelle's show? I've done a lot. I'm not going to be apologized for being on one of these shows that people consider one of the greatest shows in TV history. So people could say that I've already made history. I'm not trying to rewrite history. I'm not trying to outdo Chappelle's show. I'm just trying to maintain a level of consistency, a level consistent with my stand-up, my acting stuff, and just keep it moving. People call me Day-Day on the streets. They call me Ashley Larry. They call me beautiful, but they call me. So at the end of the day, I'm winning. The Irish Times saw Ricky Gervais in Dublin last week. They didn't like it. 2 stars out of 5. Ouch. Shock humor wears thin as comedian shares message of defiance. The Irish Times tells us Gervais ticks his edgy boxes, firing out one-liners about dead children, Islam, rape, pedophilia, and suicide. Boy, there's some fun topics. After anything particularly severe, he makes sure to leave space for guilty laughter, digging his toes in and spluttering convincingly. The willing audience squirms into cackles. Plenty of it is just stark imagery. Somewhere along the way, Gervais seems to have lost sight of the fact that the joke can both offend people and separately not be very funny. One of the plus points, writes the Dublin Times, is that Mortality moves away from Gervais's rightly condemned transphobic material. It has self-deprecating moments too, particularly around the loose thread of aging that occasionally links the show to its title. Towing the line between blowhard and butt of the joke traditionally was one of Gervais's big strengths. It's a snappy set that fizzles out towards the end with a series of drawn-out anecdotes from his time hosting the Golden Globes, an odd story about homophobic soccer chants aimed at Elton John. Before his encore, Gervais shares a celebratory message of defiance with the audience. We pushed back and we won, so F them. 2 stars out of 5. Tom Papa spoke to Seattle Magazine about how the industry has changed. Papa said, it's great now. There used to be a lot of gatekeepers. Now you can build your own career directly with your audience through podcasts, YouTube, and specials. The great thing about stand-up is if you're funny and the people like it, that's it. You don't need anyone to let you in. It's been great for me and younger comics who wouldn't have been heard 20 years ago. Now they have an opportunity because there's no denying it. Tom spoke about mentoring younger comedians. I always take them on the road with me. I like telling people what they should do with their lives, so whenever someone asks for advice, I'm happy to give it. Good question here. Tom, if you weren't a comedian, what would you be? Papa said, sometimes I think I'd be in sales because I like talking to people, but I wouldn't be a hard sell guy. Another dream is to work for a community newspaper, writing the funny column in the back for a small beach town. Tom, when you bomb, what's the first thing you do? Tom says, walk directly to my car or my room. Just get me out of there. Advice for other comics when it bombs? Papa says, it happens once in a while. It'll happen if I do a corporate gig or something and it's a culture that wasn't looking for comedy, or if they just got bad news and you have to get up there and do your thing and it doesn't work for whatever reason. I guess my only advice would be, it's not a huge reflection on you. If you're funny 20 times in a row and you bomb once, it's probably the circumstance, not you. But if you bomb again tomorrow, then maybe you should start to worry. Sarah Silverman spoke to the Maui News, your home for comedy news, and she talks about being a child. I would say the things that informed my life the most was my dad teaching me swear words when I was a toddler. I'd scream them out at the supermarket, and I would get the reaction of approval, like adults giving me wild approval despite themselves. That felt addicting to me, especially early in my career. Surprise was a big element I loved having. Also, being a bedwetter well into my teens informed a lot because nothing felt scary to me after that. Nothing intimidated me after that. I'd been through the height of humiliation, teenage bedwetting. I wasn't intimidated by the thought of bombing or being laughed at for the wrong reasons. None of that scared me, so it prepared me for a perfect life in comedy. New topic from Sarah, doing politics in comedy. That's something I even struggle with in this very podcast because it tends to come up every day, and I'm not trying to annoy anyone. I'm just telling you what's happening in the news. Sarah says, I've been thinking about it a lot. I've always been pretty political, and it's become so overwhelming, and I'm not going to give up on it per se or anything. I do feel that my job as a comedian is more important than ever, for me anyway, and then if I can keep people laughing at times like this, that's a job well done. Andrew Schulz told the Hollywood Reporter he found his fertility journey funny from the beginning. Schulz explains, I remember the first time we had sex to have a baby. I'd come back from Burning Man. I remember my wife being like, okay, let's start. I remember there was a little part of me that was like, that sperm is like half Molly. I'd be fine if it didn't work this month. That's what I said to myself, but then you start spiraling. What if the kid ended up being a serial killer? Is it because I'm doing crazy drugs at Burning Man? So that was the first time, but then it didn't work for a few months. I started talking on stage about what a lie it all is, this idea of just practice safe sex and all this other stuff they tell you that I was terrified about my whole life. I just felt like I had wasted so much stress throughout my life. Interesting, right? At that point, I didn't know there was anything wrong with my sperm. I said, dude, you're so arrogant. You can't imagine there being anything wrong with it. That's how arrogant I was. The night before we both got checked, I prayed it was my fault because I didn't want my wife to deal with the heartbreak. Wow, that's powerful. She was already telling me her theory. She'd be like, I had my laptop on my stomach when I'd watch movies as a kid, and that zapped my ovaries. And then I remember the doctor telling us that hers were perfect and that my sperm sucks. Even that was a funny moment because I was like, of all the things I prayed for in my life, the amount of snow days when I didn't have my homework done, this is the one you answer? Then the weirdest thing would happen. There'd be guys that come up to me after a show and they'd be like, firemen guys. They'd be like, hey, man, that was really funny stuff. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really like that, man. I'm glad you're talking about that. At first, they wouldn't say they went through it, but the amount of people that would message me was wild. And I started to go, wait a minute, are people having trouble getting pregnant? You gotta understand, I didn't know this was an issue at all. It was just like an issue for me and my wife. But the number of DMs I'd get, it was like, wow, this is the last thing that people are uncomfortable talking about, the last taboo thing. And I get it, it's so painful. Switching topics. The Hollywood Reporter said, you wound up filming your special at the Beacon in New York. You were supposed to do it at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. What happened? Schulz said, it was supposed to be at BAM. And then, I don't know, everything seemed fine. And then we had Trump on the podcast and they were like, yeah, we talked to the board. THR was curious, was that the only fallout from having Trump on the show? Andrew said, well, I think the negative of getting involved in anything like politics or religion is that you're either a hero or a villain. It's basketball time. What kind of basketball, John? College basketball. Think about it. Does anything beat March basketball? Sitting there on those 4-day weekends, watching all the games. Nothing beats that. Bring the fun of a bracket to every game day by making entries on Underdog. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can play now in your state. Do you want to win up to 1,000 times your money? You can with Underdog. I dig playing higher or lower. You pick a player, and whether or not they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats. The stats include points, assists, rebounds, and more. Get out your phone. Pick somebody. Go higher or lower. Total fun while watching March basketball. And if basketball's not your thing, they've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. You can create entries with all basketball selections or mix and match across other sports. You want to throw some soccer in there? Throw some soccer in there. You can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into $1,000 with just your hoops knowledge or perhaps your soccer knowledge. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code DCN to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code DCN. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus, Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus, Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Underdog app, promo code DCN.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The Toronto Guardian spoke with Emily Jeffers, who describes her comedy style as, "I do clown work," which, if you've never seen a clown show before, is a bit different from sketch or improv, that there's no fourth wall, so the clown is always aware of the audience and how they're reacting. I develop my shows to have a repeatable structure or sequence, but there's room for improvising or adapting to whatever's happening in the room during any given performance, so each show's a little different. My work is usually character-driven, very playful and physical. The vibe is generally a healthy mix of strange, charming, and joyful without being saccharine or infantilizing. I think we need more of that right now. You've heard me talk for the last week and a half. I'm kind of bored with comedy right now. Maybe I need to go clown. Who are your influences, Emily Jeffers? Emily says, probably the cartoons I watched as a kid. A lot of my humor and aesthetic choices can be traced back to Looney Tunes, Ren and Stimpy, The Simpsons, and the film Fantasia. Favorite comedian growing up, Jim Carrey, but I also watch a lot of Monty Python and Kids in the Hall. Favorite comedian right now, Mae Martin. Favorite bit you've written and why were you proud of it? Good answer here. Beady Bat. I had a bit where I was flying in slow motion to the theme music from BBC's Planet Earth. By the end of the sequence, I was fairly out of breath. I exhaled sharply and accidentally ejected my rubber bat fangs from my mouth and directly onto the middle of the stage. The room lost it as I just stared at my teeth on the floor. I think what I'm proud of is that I was able to hold on to the moment and stay in character while I used my tiny bat hands to get my teeth back in my mouth. It was a beautiful gift from the clown gods, and I will spend the rest of my performing career chasing that high. How do you find new comedians? She says, I love a good Instagram doom scroll. That's how I came across folks like Atsuko Akatsuka, Rosie Jones, and Biswa Kalyan Rath. I'm not familiar with Rath. Sortir à Paris, which I said in perfect French right there. I don't know why you're eye-rolling me. You're home for comedy news in France. They previewed the April 2025 Paris comedy scene. John, is it a slow news day? No, I don't know why you think that at all. I gave you 3 45-minute shows over the weekend. What do you want from me? The Marco Polo Comedy Club will be welcoming both big-name comedy stars testing out their new jokes and the next generation of French stand-up. Eric Dupont-Moretti will be at the Marigny Theater until June 15th. Now, you know Eric. He is the former Minister of Justice. RSS.com took a look at the top trending celebrity podcasts in every state, and some of them were by comedians. Is it a slow news day, John? No, I have no idea why you guys keep asking me that. Stop asking me that question. Arkansas, Office Ladies. California, Conan. DC, which is not a state at all, RSS.com. Las Culturistas. Hawaii's in a smart list. Idaho likes the Office Ladies. Illinois likes Conan. Iowa likes Fly on the Wall. Maine's into Office Ladies. Minnesota, Fly on the Wall. Missouri, Office Ladies. Nebraska, Fly on the Wall. New Mexico, Office Ladies. Nevada, Conan. Ohio's into Freedom. Oklahoma, Office Ladies. Oregon, Conan. Pennsylvania's in How Did This Get Made? Vermont, Office Ladies. Virginia, Freedom. Washington, How Did This Get Made? West Virginia, Smartless. Wisconsin, Conan. These are the top trending celebrity podcasts in each state. And out today on Netflix, Nimish Patel, his new stand-up special, Instant Karma. Patel dives deep into the experience of growing up as a first-generation Indian American. Patel explains, my parents spent $200,000 for me to get a degree in finance. Zero return on that investment. And that is your comedy news today. That was jam-packed with news, guys. I mean, the amount of stories I bumped today, just incredible. I'll have to save some of them for tomorrow because I can't possibly squeeze any more actual news into today's show. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
If you're fascinated by UFOs, aliens, ghosts, demons, cryptid creatures like Bigfoot, Chupacabra, and Mothman, then I have the show for you. The Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader. Each week, we investigate different claims of the supernatural and try to shed light into the darkness, bringing you the top guests and experts from around the world. Enter the fray. Then join me, Dave Schrader, your host, as we investigate all aspects and claims of the supernatural and paranormal. Listen on all of your favorite podcast platforms: Good Pods, TuneIn, Pocket Casts, Deezer, Player FM, Amazon Music, Audible, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. The answers to life's biggest questions and miracles and mysteries awaits you. So join me each week, 2 brand new episodes of the best in paranormal podcasting, The Paranormal 60 with Dave Schrader.